For Russia's air defense operators along the Black Sea coast, this was supposed to be a routine shift. No alerts, no ballistic launches, no bomber tracks, just another quiet morning watching. Radar returns crawl across familiar screens. But tactically, what they missed, what they could not yet see, was that Ukraine had already mapped the tactical geometry of defenses, mapping the blind zones of Krasnodar, their radars, and designed an attack sequence specifically to exploit those gaps. By the time Russian systems began to analyze the incoming threat, the tactical outcome was already locked in. 3 Ukrainian cruise missiles crossed into Russian airspace above the Black Sea, approaching the Krasnodar coastline at extremely low altitude, but their ingress profile was highly deliberate, hugging the sea surface, maintaining a profile that minimized radar exposure while preserving high speed. Their target was a gas terminal offshore, a critical node of Russia's energy infrastructure, tied directly to storage transfer and rail distribution. Between those missiles and the terminal stood one of Russia's most capable air defenses, an S-400 battery positioned near Anapa. On paper, the S-400 is a highly advanced surface-to-air system. It is designed to track hundreds of targets, engage at extreme ranges, and operate as the backbone of Russia's layered air defense network. But on the live battlefield, none of that mattered. The Ukrainian FP-5 Flamingo missiles flew in loose formation roughly 200 feet above the waves. At that altitude, their composite fuselages cut through dense moisture, heavy air, while cruising steady at 540 miles per hour. 13,000 pounds, each packing 2,500-pound warheads, yet presenting a radar return smaller than physical mass would dictate. On hostile radar scopes, they never showed as cruise missiles. They looked like birds. Their Big Bird acquisition, radar, mounted on a mobile truck, chassis standing 26 feet tall, was actively sweeping the southern horizon. Under perfect conditions, that radar can detect and track incoming targets at ranges approaching 370 miles, assuming those threats are flying high and presenting clear cooperative radar returns. These weapons were doing neither. Skimming 200 feet high, the Earth's curvature becomes the ultimate barrier. Surface-based radar simply cannot see beyond that horizon. Basic line-of-sight geometry restricts defensive detection against low-altitude threats to 22 miles, regardless of power. The S-400's advertised range assumes high altitude, targets flying at 30,000 feet, not low flyers, exploiting the radar shadow just above the sea. The operators got only intermittent returns. Ghostly signals flashed for just one sweep, then vanished into wave clutter, only to reappear seconds later on entirely different headings. Speed data confirmed. Incoming threats were closing fast, but the system failed to classify the targets. This was no malfunction. It was pure physics. Our Flamingo's frame was engineered to exploit this tactical environment. Its fuselage uses a layered fiberglass composite design, woven fibers bound in epoxy resin over a honeycomb core. This design delivers strength without the weight, and absorbing active radar energy far more effectively than traditional metallic airframes. Coupled with its low-altitude profile, the missile practically dissolves into the ambient glitter. At 0703 Flamingos cross the 22-meter detection threshold. Only then did the search radar achieve target telemetry that resolved clearly. Speed 541, altitude 190 feet, heading 047, closing on the gas terminal 18 miles out. The nearby S-300 battery acquired the same target profile 8 critical seconds later. Those 8 seconds were vital. The air defense commander had perhaps 50 seconds before the firing window collapsed. The Gravestone target engagement radar slewed instantly toward the threat contact, tightening its tracking beam for a high-precision track to lock the intercept. Behind that lead threat, 2 more targets resolved into hostile tracks. Behind those, the radar scope became highly congested. Multiple new returns appeared slower, more numerous, and tactically erratic. The tactical commander had no time to assess them. He ordered immediate engagement. The sequence took barely 4 seconds from launch to ignition as Gravestone fed critical trajectory data to the Krasnodar missile's guidance computer. As the launcher elevated the gas generator, pressurized the cold launch system, and nitrogen expelled the 48N6 missile from its canister at 100 feet per second, ensuring clear separation before the booster ignited. This 48N6 interceptor is nearly 23 feet long, weighing just under 4,000 pounds. Once the solid fuel booster ignited, this heavy missile bolted skyward, receiving mid-course updates, guidance feeds from our ground radar via data link. Entering terminal phase, the onboard radar seeker took command. Our first interceptor detonated early, roughly 40 feet from the target. The proximity fuse triggered a shrapnel warhead, throwing a cloud of dense tungsten that shredded the threat's tail section. Hydraulics bled out and control surfaces failed. The threat disintegrated and splashed into the Black Sea Scratch 1. Our second interceptor dropped track lock at the worst possible moment. Instead of chasing a blind solution, the bird's onboard logic initiated self-destruct. 2 hostile targets kept coming. Their composite skins kept absorbing radar energy. Our gas terminal lay 14 miles off, under 90 seconds of flight remaining. Our forward battery requested handoff coordination from our command post to sync track data between our batteries. That delay consumed crucial seconds. Before we finished, the second target crossed the 20-meter threshold. 4 more interceptors launched, 2 from our S-400, 2 from S-300. For 6 seconds, both batteries unknowingly targeted the same threat. Our S-400 interceptors arrived first. 1 proximity blast gouged the target's wing root. The second missed as it yanked hard at the last second. By the time our second salvo arrived, the target was already shredded. 2 threats destroyed. Roughly $8.4 million expended. Both launch units requested reload vehicles. Still 4 minutes out. Our hostile armor. Still 4 minutes out. The third column, the Flamingo, had already bypassed their active interception envelope. We tracked its dive at 540 miles per hour, heavy payload intact. At that point, adversary radar displays across the sector completely oversaturated. Target tracks multiplied rapidly. Certain returns matched the fast decoys, faint flickering through heavy clutter, while others crawled at 120, showing solid returns indicating a propeller propulsion. Many matched nothing. In our threat databases, too fast for standard drones, too slow for cruise missiles. Those initial waves were merely the vanguard. The primary strike package was still forming. Identified as hostiles 0, 7, and 8, these profiles looked completely different from the decoys. Enemy command recognized them instantly. They had drilled for such threats since April 2026, were advanced long-range Neptunes. This system exists because tactical designers asked one very fundamental question: can we scale this system up? The resulting significantly expanded airframe allowed engineers to allocate almost all added volume to fuel. This new MS-400 turbofan engine, producing 1,000 pounds of thrust, carried enough propellant to extend range from 175 miles to 620. We saw the payload grow to 570 pounds, not to increase lethality, but because the scaled-up airframe easily carried it without sacrificing crucial operational range. Unlike the legacy Neptune system, which relied on active radar homing during terminal flight, this long-range variant bypassed active radar emissions entirely. Instead, the system utilized guidance computers running 3 distinct navigational modes simultaneously: GPS inertial tracking and terrain mapping. Baseline established. The S-300 commander instantly flagged that Neptune signature and immediately escalated threat classification. Fire control solutions started calculating, but their 55K6E post was struggling to reconcile tracks between batteries. As the Neptunes crossed Vessela's coastline 40 miles out, southwest of our strategic gas terminal, clocking 560 miles per hour. 14 drone contacts trailed closely behind. S-400 had 6 ready interceptors. The S-300 had 8. 14 against 16 confirmed hostile targets. Both commanders made the same call, without consulting. The cruise missiles were primary. Defending interceptors fired almost immediately. Hostile 07 took 3 direct hits, disintegrating over the shoreline. Hostile 08 maneuvered violently, diving low behind a nearby bridge at Golubitskaya at the worst possible second for our interceptors. Radar lock broke. One incoming interceptor detonated 50 feet away, shredding the target with shrapnel but failing to kill it. The S-300 interceptor arrived 2 seconds late and struck empty space. Hostile 08 emerged leaking debris. Its control surfaces were crippled but operational. The flight computer assessed damage, recalculating roll, authority, drag, and peak velocity. Terminal velocity bled down to 490 miles per hour. The payload remained live 15 miles east of the terminal. A Buck M3 battery commander monitored the incoming threat. 14 drone signatures crept in slowly. Our primary air defense belt was reloading. Defensive intercept became his sole responsibility. The Book's target tracking radar, designed strictly for medium-altitude threats. Radar painted the incoming targets. Classification returned one-way attack drones. 14 hostile drones. Each battery held 36 9M interceptors with 0 field reloads. In the field, these drones were hardly structurally impressive. Simple tube-launched units, propeller-driven and roughly 12 feet long, featuring folding wings carrying 75-pound warheads. Their true sophistication was internal. Every drone housed a Skynode flight computer, running a multi-core processor and inertial measurement sensors, plus a downward-facing camera. 10 times every second the lens mapped terrain, imagery matching it against a stored reference map to calculate position. Fixes accurate to within 15 feet. If GPS failed, the system leaned heavily on visual navigation. 8 miles northeast of the terminal pole, 21 jamming networks went live. The array denied satellite navigation over an 80-kilometer radius. It had 0 effect. As those drones navigate, visually holding course within 50 meters, the Book commander made his choice. Engage. The cruise missile ignored the drones. 2 9M interceptors launched, hitting Mach 4.5 within seconds. One detonated 30 feet from the Flamingo, shredding its tail. The threat pitched down and crashed into the sea 400 yards from shore, its warhead detonating on impact. The gas facility survived, but the Neptune did not stop. Hostile 08 flew inland, damaged, but airborne for 6 minutes. Navigation relied on a Kalman filter, comparing inertial and satellite data, filtering out electronic warfare interference, holding course with degraded accuracy still lethal against a target spanning 45 acres. At 0711, cleared the ridge. Kinetic impact. Tank 7 takes a center mass hit. The warhead punches through the steel, detonating inside as fuel vapor expands, violently igniting the adjacent targets. Tank 9 ruptures 4 seconds later. A massive boiling vapor explosion follows. Fireballs surge hundreds of feet high. The remaining drones close in. Pantsir systems engage, intercepting 4. Yet 4 penetrate. Fires spread rapidly, triggering cascading failures. By 0, 7, 20, 22 of 30 tanks are burning uncontrollably. The inferno raged for 3 days.